Yo, what is going on, guys? J.Yumeko here, and today we're here with a new addition to the channel. This is the Hungry Lamb. It has a longer name, but it's whatever. It's like the Hungry Lamb makes their way through the Ming Dynasty or some shit like that. Anyways, this is I believe it's Chinese originally. I mean, obviously considering Ming Dynasty, yada yada yada. But I have played. Well, I bought this game kind of for a personal enjoyment. Played through it a little bit, and I figured it was good enough for this channel. I mean, you know, I enjoyed it, so I mean, might as well make a video on it. So I mean, I haven't really gotten like super far into the game or anything. I'm just a little ways in. So, but I figured now that we've wrapped up Fata Morgana, which I will be making another video on that because it's been brought to my attention that there's like some new game plus kind of content on it. And then I'll also be sometime soon here starting another bigger series, just to kind of take its place. And then I don't know how long exactly this game's gonna be, but I'm thinking, you know, whenever I feel like it, record a little bit of this and give it out there to you guys, and yeah, if you enjoy it, then you enjoy it. So as far as I know, this game is, the whole premise is that we play as like a slave trader, and so, which is this guy here, and then this is one of the slaves that we're trading, but then she's like secretly highly killed or highly trained killer or something along those lines. Not exactly highly trained, but that's kind of the basic premise. So we end up helping her out. So that's kind of where we're gonna get to in this point. So let's go ahead and load a new game. Liang Prologue. Let me see if this game has voices actually. I wouldn't mind if it doesn't. This probably won't be a series that I do like the super long 2-hour things. Here we go. Language, English. Voice language can be in Chinese or regular English. Well, let's see. Stop voice text when finished. Okay, let's see if that works. I often ponder why my father named me Liang. The word Liang indicates Shan, virtue. The character Shan is in the shape of an open-mouthed sheep. Looking at it, you can imagine the sheep's cry. That's an open-mouthed sheep? It's a very imaginative interpretation. Perhaps if one is as gentle as a lamb, Liang suits him. However, I refuse to see myself as a sheep. I am a wolf. Wow. I'm the alpha, I'm the leader, I'm the one to trust. Oh, that's very quiet. Crank it up a little bit. Again, this isn't like, I'm not imagining I'm gonna make this series like, you know, super hardcore where I'm trying to pump it out every week or anything. So I'm just gonna kind of have fun with this one. From nearby there came a rough voice inquiring. I glanced sideways and a man approached from the distance. Step by step he made his way, twigs and fallen leaves crunching. Sunlight streamed through the cracks in the woods, dappling everything, yet he adeptly hid himself in the shadows. I sized him up. Capped in a bamboo hat, clad in a raincoat, holding a gourd, he seemed more a fisherman than a menace at first glance. Such an appearance made it easy to let one's guard down, hence he was usually tasked with luring the sheep, and then I would do the butcher's job. This fellow was another wolf accompanying me. His name was Shi Jing, but I preferred calling him Tongue.
喂，问你呢，干嘛不说话？处理干净了吗？
Let me turn that up even higher. That's still very quiet. Well, it's quiet for me, but I don't know about you guys. Yeah, we'll just have it up there. Wrapped up. Gave the sheep a stab when he wasn't looking.
现在丢哪儿了？
Buried.
埋仔细了没？这里离城可不远，别被野兽刨出来。
Buried him tight. No worries.
行，那他身上都有些啥呀？
3,000 coins worth. 5 taels of silver plus 200 coins. Ragged clothes and a pouch. I take 4 taels, You get the raggy clothes and the pouch is mine.
凭啥？
This time there was just one sheep. I killed and buried him, so I deserve more.
行吧，行吧，就这样吧。荷包多少钱？
Not much. It's just a common item.
我看看。
Tung wanted to see the pouch. I reached into my waist bag and pulled it out for Tung to see. The pouch was small enough to fit in one hand. Common sense would dictate that a sheep's pouch might contain a handkerchief for some checks, but it was empty. The pouch was red, sewn together with patches, yet it looked new, and was embroidered with a light-colored word, An. Heh. I chuckled softly. How did the pouch end up with this embroidered word? Did the sheep's name contain An, or did he wish safety from the pouch? If it's the latter, the pouch surely failed him.
妈的，确实是破东西，卖不了几个钱。你真不知道你为啥稀罕这些羊毛啊？每宰一只羊都得留点羊毛，小心哪天留了痕迹，把你给害死。
No big deal. I gave the pouch a squeeze and tossed it into my waist pouch.
好，趁着天没黑，咱快去华州搞点酒肉。
Tung patted my shoulder, taking the lead.
梁，这次你分的东西多，可得你请啊。
Okay. I responded casually to Tung, pressing my hand on my bamboo hat to softly lower it. Following Tung's footsteps, I walked forward, each step accompanied by the crunch of leaves underfoot. It was fine not to pay attention to these sounds, but if you do, they could become quite loud. It was as if the bird chirps and monkey cries had disappeared, and the whole forest was flooded with the crunch of trodden leaves. We, the two wolves, trod across the desolate mountains and wild ridges. Upon passing a tree with a sturdy, twisted trunk, I couldn't help but look closer. I knew it. Beneath that tree lay the sheep I butchered. Oh my god, flashbang. Holy shit. That was so bright. The sun hung high, almost blinding. Yeah, talk about blinding. But its rays lacked the slightest trace of warmth. I couldn't shake the memory of the sun from my childhood, so warm and inviting. Now it felt different. Perhaps it was a sign of the fading dynasty, an era gripped by misfortune, where even the daylight had grown cold. Perched on a boulder by an inn in Huazhou, I'm gonna butcher all these fucking names. I emptied the last drop from my flask. The fiery liquor seared my throat, yet its warmth refreshed my stomach. In bygone days I deemed myself an unfortunate soul. However, in this year of calamity, savoring the fiery liquor proved to be a rare stroke of luck.
梁，有活了，还是个大活。
A familiar voice rang in my ears. I glanced over, and there was Tung standing behind me. Same old attire, bamboo hat, straw raincoat. He seemed like a fisherman. Tung's eyes gleamed, smiling at me, ready to spill some good news. What's the job? I gave him a quick look, inquiring casually.
城北有间客栈，关了尹三儿留的几只小羊。本来呀，这几只小羊是尹三的人去送的，但他们犯了别的事儿，被官兵给抓了。他现在无人可用，让我们替原本的人办事儿。
I won't handle lambs.
哎，你会错意了。我当然知道你不杀小羊啊。
Then what's the deal?
我们要送几只小羊去洛阳。
Human trafficking? My heart sank. I finally got what Tung had been hinting at with his mysterious talk. Whenever he sought me out before, it usually meant dark deeds like robbing and killing. This time, all secretive-like, turned out he wanted us to do trafficking, delivering some acquired lambs to Lo Yang for a good price.
诱口？你不能这么说啊！小羊又不是我们逮的，算不得诱口。不过你愿意这么想，倒是也好懂一些。你也知道的，尹三儿那人虽然一直是帮我们介绍劫道的活，但是他的主业其实是人牙子。这单确实是要把他搞到的小羊给送到洛阳，不过不是啥恶事儿，是善事儿。
How is human trafficking a good deed? I frowned and almost didn't want to hear Tung talk anymore.
当然是善事儿啊！哎，你听我说，先听我说，娘，这几年各地大旱，很多羊都被饿死，所以呀，有快饿死的人家把他家的小羊卖给尹三换钱粮。洛阳那边呢，有一只大肥羊啊，它有的是钱，就是生不出小羊，便想从穷地方收几只来养。你想啊，那些穷人家的小羊们本来就要饿死，我们把它送到富的地方去，这样他们的父母不至于饿死，小羊也能吃得饱饱的，所有人都高兴了，咱这是在做善事啊！嘿嘿，不瞒你说，一只小羊100两，4只小羊400两，你我对半分，今后几年都不愁吃穿啊！妈的，扭扭捏捏的干啥呀？给个痛快呀！你要是不做这么好的活，我就找别人做。这不是看你身手好，一个能顶俩。
Hold on. I called out to Tung. When do the lambs need delivering?
越早越好，我今天就要去看看。
Fine, I'll join you. I rose, brushing off dust. Tung laughed, leading the way. Tung said a few words, managing to convince me. Maybe it was the promise of no worries about food and clothing, or perhaps the idea of doing good deeds that swayed me. Anyway, I'm gonna go along with Tung's plan to see what's up.
哎呦，我的二位爷，我总算把你们给盼来，哎，快坐，快坐。
That is one goblin-y-looking motherfucker.
妈的狗子，没个眼力劲儿，快给二位爷上热酒。
Just arrived at the inn with Tung, and Yin-san greeted us with flattery. Guiding us to our seats at the inn, he scolded his workers to bring us drinks. His sudden shift in behavior made me wonder if he was just acting. I stayed standing, eyes fixed on Yin-san, my mind wandering into some interesting scenarios. Possibly from my childhood love for shadow plays. Whenever I meet someone, their animal form pops into my head. Most are sheep, Tung and I are wolves. Yin-san, though, comes across as a fox. This fox's lair was the inn in North Huazhou. No guest came and it's closed all year. The inn was a cover. He used it for his business dealings. There's a higher up he answered to. The big boss handed down missions and he passed them on to us. Back then, the jobs we pulled for him were all about hitting caravans. He'd tip us off on a sweet haul and we'd go in. This time it's a bit different. A job involving human trafficking. Whatever the job, we meet up at his inn most of the time.
尹三儿，我们来了。梁说他可以解。
Who said I'm in? I haven't committed.
啊，没定？哎呦，梁爷，你可不能没定啊！哎，你身手好，又和新爷熟，这活可不能缺了你。哎，我知道您之前没做过右口的事儿，也不愿意做。只是真的不用担心。你们这次的活只是运送小羊，小羊是怎么来的，要送给谁，都和你们没关系。哎，而且我也不怕给你们交个底儿。这次啊，收小羊的人全是头天，哪怕出了什么事儿，官府也查不下去。哎，再说了，现在兵荒马乱，官府哪能管得上啊？哎，星爷，您说是吧？
Oh, fuck.
赶地好多地方造反。他们要么在贪钱，要么在藏钱，哪能顾得上我们？
Yin-san explained to me, relying on Tung to back him up at the same time. Tung chugged half a cup of hot wine, backing Yin-san and shooting me winks. No worries about food and clothes, doing good deeds, and times are chaotic. They kept echoing in my mind, challenging my principles. Now, do I dive into this job, or think twice? I mean, you know, for a guy that seemed so against human trafficking, he sure did give in very fucking easily, didn't he? I mean, what was it? I'm a villain, not a monster. Scope out the lambs. I'll take a look at the lambs first and decide after. I said slowly to Yin-san and Tung.
哎，行，梁爷愿意看小羊，那就有戏。猴子，去，把小羊带上来。
Yin-san shouted, his voice echoing. The inn's waiter nodded, hurrying towards the back door. The lambs were brought up, tied with hemp ropes around their waists, linked together to stop any escape. Some softly cried, others trembled, nudged into a line by the inn's waiter, standing in front of me. I kept quiet, scanning the lambs. The leftmost lamb and the second one, they must know each other. Staying close, the elder guarding the younger. Probably sisters, both pretty young. I figured the older sister was 9 and the younger one was 6. Both sported worn-out clothes, dark complexions, and rugged, disheveled faces. Their slender frames hinted at a poor background. Glancing at them, the older sister, scared yet putting on a brave front, defiantly locked eyes with me, while the younger one shelled away, too frightened to speak. Maybe the older sister aimed to protect the younger one and viewed me as a threat. No shit, really? Duh! The third lamb stood out from the first two. Probably of school age, she wore old clothes, was small, but had much fairer skin than the first two lambs. She bowed her head in fear, hesitant to speak, yet her upright stance hinted at an unusual background. Bought the two on the left, the third snatched? I casually asked Yun-san, laying out my judgment.
哟，梁爷眼力真准，不瞒您说，确实如此啊。左边啊，这俩小羊是姐妹，她们是附近穷山沟的。哎呀，现在各处闹饥荒，他家养不起这么多娃子，便先把女娃卖了，给小儿子换粮吃。
Damn, that's fucked. Yin-san spoke slowly, and as he did, I shifted my attention to the two lambs, keeping an eye on their reactions. After hearing that, the younger sister stood there, seeming a bit lost. The older sister, with teary eyes, looked on the verge of crying. It seemed what Yin-san said was true.
啊，至于第三只嘛，出身不错，确实是我们拐来的。
Snatched? Is it safe?
哎，肯定安全，不安全我哪敢往外送啊？
No way snatched ones are safe, especially when this lamb seems one from a decent family. I hushed my tone and spoke icily to Yin-san.
哎，情况特殊，梁爷，别急，别急呀、哎，
Yin-san chuckled awkwardly in response to my words.
来这边说话。
Yin-san pulled me aside a bit, trying to steer clear of that lamb.
梁爷啊，这只小羊情况特殊，我们查过的。 虽然他是贵家出身，但运他没有风险。
Why? When does trafficking a noble young lady become risk-free? Aren't you worried her family might report this to the government?
报官？哎呀，不怕，他家现在自顾不暇，怎么可能来找他呀？
What happened?
他家呀，曾与原都师交往甚密，好像还沾点亲戚。哎，原都师你知道吧？哎，就是那个。 得罪了万岁爷，被切片的，被诛了3族啊
Jesus Christ! He offended the emperor, so they cut him up and killed 3 generations of his family. And the thing is, this shit actually fucking happened. Like, this was very commonplace. Oh, you insult me! Killing 3 generations of your family.
都师死后。 他家遭受株连，杀的杀，流放的流放，遭贬的遭贬，早就家不成家了。
I kept quiet. If Yin-san's words held true, no one would bother about the land this family lost. Even in times of peace and prosperity, the offspring of condemned officials were disregarded, let alone in times of turmoil. Fine, I'll give the last lamb a look. I nodded, leaving the matter of the third lamb behind, and turned my attention to the last one. This motherfucker, bro. The fourth lamb's a young boy. He looks like the oldest, tall, only a head shorter than me. Hunched awkwardly, tilting his head. He anxiously looked around, his gaze dodgy and elusive.
尹三儿，这羊看起来不太对啊，有呆变。
Tung frowned, studying the fourth lamb before him.
哎，是啊，他确实有点呆
He's a
傻。
bit slow. You think?
小时候患了热病，把脑袋烧傻了。
哎，不是，似乎他就是天
He's
生傻。
naturally slow.
这小羊从小就这样，家里一开始觉得他是弥勒佛转世，就一直养到大。后来闹了饥荒，家里穷了些，不想养这佛了，他妈就把这小羊卖给我们了。
阿爸，阿爸，阿爸，阿爸。
Upon hearing the word mom, the fourth lamb got agitated, staring intently and yelling mom loudly. Seeing this, the other lambs seemed to think of their own moms too. Eyes teared up, quietly sobbing. Maybe for these lambs, feelings spread like laughter.
尹三儿，你确定肥羊会想要这种小羊？
Tung asked with a mocking tone, a hint of anger emerging in his voice.
哎呦，谁知道呢？也许哪家也觉得他是弥勒佛转世，想要养呢。洛阳那家说尽量是女娃子，但或许也能看下男娃子，能收的男娃比女娃少多了，也就只能搞到这种的了。
不行，这种绝对不行。
哎，星爷为何不行啊？
先不说我要是肥羊，绝对不想要这种小羊。你给我们运也运不了啊！这弥勒佛带着太麻烦，我和你梁爷在路上被他惹急了，一冲动便可能……
哎呦，星爷呀，你就不能收收脾气？这是肥羊要的羊，少一只就少一份钱，丢一只，可能都要你们倒给钱的。
那我更不能要了，我最管不来这种有呆病的。我们管不了他，若是他一路喊喊叫叫，难免会引来官兵盗匪，到时候所有人都要完蛋。
Agreed. I sided with Tung. This lamb was too hard to handle and might stir up troubles.
哎，行，我早知道你会不愿意。哎，正好，也罢。其实我也担心那肥羊会不喜欢男娃，哪怕这种肥点的也不行，大概率会退货。哎呀，
Oh, so
哎，狗
gross.
子，那你还是把那小羊也带上来吧。
That lamb? I furrowed my brow, puzzled by Yinsan's words. Before long, the waiter returned with another lamb. The lamb stepped out from the backyard, immediately catching my eye. Appeared to be around 10, in the early years of schooling. Donned in worn-out clothes, her skin neither dark nor particularly fair. Quite slender, my first takeaway from observing her. She had a small frame, clothes tightly wrapped around her, revealing protruding bones at her wrists. The thin fabric outlined her bones. Her hair was pitch black, while her eyes had an unusual deep blue hue. This lamb appeared delicate. If she were a bit plumper, perhaps she'd be a beauty in the making.
哟，这小羊看着还不错。你这儿的几只小羊，说实话，除了弥勒佛，都还长得不磕碜。
那是，我的货源肯定正。哎，梁爷觉得如何呢？
I don't mind how the lamb looks. I'm curious why she isn't tied up like the others. I noticed the last lamb wasn't tied with a rope around her waist. Curiously, I asked Yunsan.
啊，他和其他小羊不一样，他不用绑的。
You trust her?
放心啊，他不是被卖过来或是拐来的，而是逃荒的时候自己过来的。这娃子呀，是上个月刚来的，像是被调教过，只要给一口饭吃，什么活都愿意做。哎呀，虽然我也觉得可惜，但你们若是不想带那弥勒佛，可以让他替着去吧。哎，他是哑巴，但是很懂事，平常不哭闹。你们跟他说会去一个能吃饱饭的地方。
我说尹三儿啊，你这儿的小羊怎么除了傻子就是哑巴？
哎呦，这小羊是哑巴又怎样？二位爷呀，说真的，要不是跟肥羊约好了货的数量，我真不打算把它给交出去。你们别不信，哪怕它不会说话，养大后绝对能卖个好价钱。
它耳朵没问题吧？
哎，没问题的。
啊，那倒也方便。
Tung nodded, agreeing with Yinsan's idea. Having this girl along would be easier than dealing with the boy's issues. I agreed with that. But I wanted more details. Yinsan, how old are these lambs and what are their names? I asked Yinsan.
左属的俩姐妹，9岁和6岁，叫红儿和翠儿。
Hong and Queer? Is there a way to for him to reread that? Let's see.
哦，年龄还是知道的。我
Motherfucker,
问他是
he's
否
skipping shit.
9岁的时候，他点过头，估摸着左属的俩姐妹9岁和6岁，叫红儿和翠儿。
Bruh. It just skipped all this. Anyways.
左属的俩姐妹9岁和6岁，叫红儿和翠儿。
Sawyer. Like Sawyer, I guess. The third one is Chonghua?
第三只叫琼华，9
I was
岁。
right. Chonghua, 9 years old. The last one, she's mute and can't read, so it's tough to know her name. You could just call her Little Mute. Oh, I still don't know her. I still know her age. Asked if she's 9. She nodded, so she's about 9 years old. No name. 9 years old. Mute. I looked again at the last lamb brought in as a backup. This time, she looked up and met my gaze. Surprisingly, she didn't shy away like the other lambs. She stared at me quietly. Her deep blue eyes reflected my image. A faint moisture seems to be layered over her eyes, or maybe it was just my imagination. Strangely, during that brief eye contact, a peculiar thought crossed my mind. She stood out as the only one among the children who didn't resemble a lamb. Cat. She appeared to be a cat. Liang chapter 2. I agreed to do Yin-san's job. After that, Tung and I spent a night at Yin-san's inn. The next morning, I tidied up my attire, wiped down my sword, and sheathed it. Before we hit the road, Yin-san got us 2 pack horses for the journey. I can't ride with them, but they're perfect for carrying stuff. To avoid checks in the main roads, we'll take a lot of mountain paths. Those trails aren't good for wagons, but pack horses will work. The inn was in a remote spot and very few people were around, especially in the early morning. Tung and I stood by the inn, estimating how much time our job would take and planning what things to bring along.
华州到洛阳路途600里，哪怕日行50里，也要走半个月。
Can't reckon it that way. The lambs will take at least half dozen miles a day. Taking detours will extend the distance if anything.
妈的，那就要备30日的干粮和水。现在各处闹饥荒，这么多粮又得花不少钱。
Pack light for now. Buy provision on the road. Head east, fewer folks fleeing. Cheaper grub.
行，要是我们到时候困在山里，实在饿极了，就吃个小洋葱鸡。
Tung grinned and cracked the joke. I just shrugged it off and didn't say anything. Time to roll. I'll fetch him. I tossed a quick word to Tung, grabbed my blade, and headed straight into the inn to call the lambs. I woke up the lambs and took them outside. 3 had ropes around their waists tied together. The mute one without a rope bounced around strangely.
梁，你说要不要把那个小哑巴也一起绑了？虽然尹三说他是自愿去的，不用担心会逃，可他这样能撒丫子跑，我不放心。
Yeah, makes sense. I nodded, went to the saddle, and found a rope in the bag. I connected the new rope to the third lamb, tied a knot, and then went over to the mute girl with the other end of the new rope. The mute girl surely caught wind of our talk. She peeked at me, then turned away. Though she didn't look at me directly, she stood tall, arms raised on both sides. I didn't say anything, just stood behind her, head down. I took the rope, looped it twice around her waist, and tied a knot at the back. As I wrapped the rope, I could feel how skinny she was. The rope around her waist was only half an arm's length. So thin. After that, I double-checked the ropes and the lambs, then tied the rope's end to the pack horse. These knots were really tight, so unless they had something really sharp, it'd be tough for them to untie. Even if they tried to cut the ropes, it would take time. Tung and I would keep watch, making it tricky for the lambs to get a chance. When I tied the rope around the little mute's waist, she went along with it, didn't put up a fight at all. She did seem as sensible as Yin-san said.
喂，小崽子们，都听好了啊！这一路上你们叫我星爷，叫他梁爷。我们要走1-2个月， 为的是把你们送去能吃饱喝足的地方。我们出城后一直向东走，走的路大多都是山路，每日走的不多，日行20里便可。粮食我都备齐了，今后我们一天吃2顿，午时1顿，傍晚1顿。这2顿多吃点儿，别的时候不许喊饿。走路时不许交头接耳，不许哭闹，违者罚粮1天。这一路不要想着逃跑啊！逃者鞭笞数百，打死后还要被我活剥生吃。
Tongue, all red-faced and loud, introduced himself to the lambs and set his rules. While he talked, he pulled out a switch from his bag and waved it in the air, showing it to the lambs. The young lambs couldn't hide their feelings well at that. When they heard about a place with lots to eat and drink, their eyes got big. When they heard about "I'll strip your skin and have a feast," they all got scared and huddled up. Especially that refined lamb named Chonghua. When Tongue waved the switch, she got so scared her legs shook, almost falling down. Tongue always liked seeing the lamb scared because of him. He glanced at the frightened Chonghua, a playful smile on his face. Don't dawdle. Time to go. I told Tongue not to overdo it, and pay attention at the time.
行，出发吧。
Let's roll. We got children to deliver. Tongue turned around and yelled at the lambs once more. His shout made the lambs shiver. He chuckled, licked his lips, and led the way forward. We followed Yinsan's chosen path to leave the city. Outside, we headed east along the planned route. To steer clear of the main road, we had to go through the foothills of the Tuhua Mountains area. First, we'd cross the Shaohua Mountain, then Mount Huashan, and after that we'd reach Tongguan, where Yinsan had set up a place for us to stay. The mountainous journey would take 4 to 8 days. Tongue and I knew this part around the Tuhua Mountains area well enough to avoid bandits, but with wild beasts in the mountains, can't be too careless. We walked through Shaohua Mountain. We didn't speak along the way. All we saw were endless trees, dirt, and rocks. All we heard were hooves, insects, and footsteps. After about 2 hours, Tongue suddenly started talking to me.
喂，梁，你知道群大虫吗？
Tiger herd?
哦，你不知道啊，群大虫就是成群的大虫。寻常时候，大虫都是独来独往。前些年陕北闹饥荒，很多人向东逃难，都逃到了一些山区里，被大虫吃了。大虫吃人多了，生崽也多，过2年就都是成群的大虫了。哎，梁，你说，若来了10几头大虫，我们还有命不？
Doubt it.
那不一定，我们手中有
Nah, I'd
刀
win.
啊！啊，如果见到大虫，我就挥刀斩了小羊们，放出一堆血来。大虫见着血肉，定不会去咬我们这些持刀的啊，会冲上去分食小羊。那时我们便可逃了啊！
Tongue burst into laughter, cranking up his voice in the last 2 sentences. I knew he was doing it on purpose, trying to let the lambs behind us hear. He seemed to enjoy frightening these lambs, huh? Was that fun? I threw a cold remark at Tongue.
肯定有趣儿啊！
Tongue chuckled, dagger slung over his shoulder, moving forward. I glanced back at the lambs. 3 of them were scared white by Tongue's words. The mute one just lowered her head, lost in thought. Was she not afraid of the tigers? Around noon, after walking for about 4 hours, we took a break for an hour. Tongue had some grub first and said he wanted a quick nap and dozed off against a tree. After that, I handed out food to the lambs, giving each one a serving of dry ration and half a pot of water. The hungry lambs quickly started munching on the food and shared the water. As I munched on my own ration, I kept an eye on them. The 2 darker-skinned lambs, Hong and what was it fucking... Oh, that was... Queer? Yeah, Queer, that's her name. Hong and... Oh, fuck, there was a certain way he pronounced that shit. Let me see if I can find it. Oh no, that's way back there. Okay. Sweeter? Queer? I don't know. Fuck me. Jesus Christ. I would think it's like Chui. Nah. Sweer. I don't want to keep saying queer, so I'm gonna say just Sweer. Whatever. They ate pretty fast and finished quickly. Hunger was the older sister, and she looked after her younger sister, giving her more water. She only took a tiny sip herself. The well-bred girl, who got snatched, was still kind of scared. She took the grub really carefully, eyes wide open, like she thought I might stab her while she was taking a bite. Surprisingly, even though she's a kidnapped miss, she didn't complain about the grub and finished it all. Not sure if Yin-san did a good job training her after the snatch, or she just figured out how things are now. While eating, her eyes got teary, and I figured she's thinking about something. Heard it's easier for poor folks to handle a rich life, and rich folks struggle in poverty. Probably hits lambs like her hard. Yeah. Besides watching those 3 lambs, I also kept an eye on the mute girl. She chowed down on her grub, eating really quick. Look away for a sec, and she polished off everything, like she hasn't eaten in forever.
梁爷，
While I was watching the mute girl, a lamb's voice suddenly reached my ears. The sister named Hong-er lifted her arm, shyly calling me, not quite used to saying my name. What's up? I stood up, furrowing my brow, and asked her.
我们要来抽抽，别的不行了。
Hong-er told me a bit awkwardly. I turned to look at her younger sister. Hold it! Sweer's face got really red. She hunched over, holding her legs, just like Hunger said. Eat, drink, pee, poop were constants of human life. We'd been on the road for a while, so those lambs probably needed a break. Since Tongue didn't cover the rules about relieving themselves, they might have been holding it until now. Sure, if anyone needs to go, just do it on the spot. I looked at them and casually announced my solution.
梁爷，不行。
Why not? I don't know, man. Yeah, why not? Just do it. Come on, do it. The lamb called Chuang Hua seemed uneasy about my suggestion to do it on the spot. She looked at me awkwardly and then glanced nervously at Tongue, who was resting under a nearby tree. Her eyes showed worry and discomfort. While I wasn't entirely sure of her thoughts, I could guess. Maybe she was concerned that if Tongue woke up and saw them relieving themselves nearby, he might find a reason to punish them. Or she might be hinting that, being a girl among guys, she didn't want to do it in front of men. Yeah, that... Both are valid reasons, but I would think this is probably the primary. I leaned more towards the first one. After all, these young kids were still a few years away from being adults, so such concerns shouldn't bother them. Hey man, what do I know? I'm not a Chinese dude born in the Ming Dynasty. You know, times are different. They were different. Alright, follow me with the ropes. We'll head to a spot behind those trees. Line up and take care of it there. I shared the plan and went to the pack horse, undoing the tied ropes. You know, one thing that I will never understand is how people survive without toilet paper. I mean, like, jeez, dude. Like, I saw this thing where, I think it was like the Romans or something like that. Like, they had this like, bristled brush or something like that. Or it was either that or, like, some kind of sponge that they would use. It was some crazy thing, and I'm sitting here like, God, dude, these people would use anything for toilet paper. But it's like, I feel like that had to have been so uncomfortable. Boy, am I glad to have not been born back then, eh? Holding the ropes, I guided each lamb. We passed the sleeping Tongue, going toward a cluster of trees a bit away. I led the lambs to relieve themselves. When they came back, Tongue was still asleep. The lambs took a short nap. I stayed awake, keeping an eye on them and the surroundings. After lunch, we resumed our journey. We walked for 4 or 5 hours along the foot of Shohua Mountain. Thankfully, we didn't run into any beasts or the tiger herd Tongue mentioned. Suier stumbled along the way, almost falling. Luckily, the rope tied around her waist and being close to her sister kept her from hitting the ground. The silver moon shone bright, and stars scattered across the sky. Soft clouds moved slowly, and insects made a racket. Night made it hard to see. So we decided to find a campsite at dusk, resting until dawn before hitting the road again. We've been through these mountains a lot. Found a good mountain lake for camp as dusk settled in. The lake was good for water and washing, and the conditions were decent. Tung set up camp, and I made a fire. He unloaded tools from the pack horse, gathered some dry straw nearby, and set up makeshift bedding. I grabbed a bundle of firewood and took out the fire-starting tools from the pack. With a fire striker in one hand and a piece of flint in the other, I struck the flint hard, producing sparks. I swiftly brought the flint near the tinder, and after a few attempts, a flame finally caught on the tinder. The flame quickly spread from the tinder to the firewood, forming a blazing campfire. The campfire served as a warning for nearby beasts and provided us with light and warmth. The youngest, Sui happily sat down and got close to the blazing fire. She reached out her hands to feel the warmth of the campfire. Seeing Sui do this, the other lambs first checked our expressions, making sure we weren't mad, and then they also gathered around the campfire.
娘，你还真能搭伙呀！我记得你不是怕火吗？
Just done with his work, Tung joined us by the campfire. He brought up my old story. Well, I used to be scared of fire due to past memories of a disaster. Was scared before, not now.
哈哈，那是好事啊！本来想着你怕火，下次杀人放火，我都不愿带着你。
Tung scared the lambs with his words again, but I didn't feel like continuing the talk. And honestly, when you have to deal with someone, you don't resort to arson.
妈的，累死了！要不是怕这些小羊跑了，就该让他们去给咱们拾柴火、铺床铺。哎，梁，中午我休息过了啊，你先睡2个时辰吧。2个时辰后，你给我换班。
All right. I nodded and settled down by the campfire. A gentle breeze passed by, making the campfire flames sway like a torn red ribbons in the air. The fire's glow revealed the faces of the lambs, who remained still, perhaps fearing punishment. Yet their shadows had already adjusted to the surroundings. With the flickering firelight, their shadows danced freely, and the crackling of the burning wood added a lively tune to their performance. The scene in front of me brought back memories of the shadow plays I enjoyed during my childhood. Feeling a bit drowsy, while lost in thoughts of shadow play, I ended up dozing off. Guess I'll sleep first. With Tung watching over the lambs, no need to fret. Slightly on edge, I clutched my blade and fell asleep. My gaze fixed on the dancing flames, I succumbed to the weight of my eyelids, gradually slipping into dreams.
梁，醒醒！
Tung's voice rang in my ears. I slowly opened my eyes. Huh? Did 4 hours fly by already? Guess that short nap didn't do much. Honestly, I felt more worn out now. 4 hours already? I asked Tung as I got up.
对，柴火烧了2捆，差不多2个时辰了。
The lambs okay?
都睡了。
Tung gestured at the nearby beds. Lambs rested by the fire, Sui and Hong'er together, Chunghua and the mute girl in the separate beds, ropes around their waists keeping them in place. Okay, I'll take the next shift. I nodded, gesturing to Tung, and decided to stand up for a quick stretch to refresh myself. Tung saw me stand up, then he found a bed and lay down. Jesus Christ. He dozed off fast, and soon enough I heard his snoring. Now it's just waiting for the sun to rise. Quite a chore. 4 hours of sleep daily for several days. Excuse me, Jesus. For several dozen days. In this regard, those lambs probably had it better than us. On the way, they could sleep for 8 hours. Once we reach our destinations, they could get sold as a fancy sheep. If luck was on their side and they were chosen, they might get adopted as daughters. Even if luck wasn't on their side, becoming servants or maids in these chaotic times was still better than being refugees and bandits like us, right? Yeah, servants and maids. I want to say that. Thinking about it that way, this job might actually be a good deed. Ta. While lost in my thoughts, a sudden noise caught my attention. I swiftly turned to see its origin. In the dancing firelight, a lamb rose to its feet. It was Little Mute. Why are you up? I asked Little Mute coldly. Little Mute. No words. She couldn't. Hungry? I asked again. Shook her head. Need to pee? She nodded. Pee? I frowned. In the middle of the night? Such a bad habit. Oh, she's 10 years old, man. Chill. She needed to pee, but it was tricky. The rope tied her to the other lambs, and going could disturb their sleep or even bother Tongue. Going nearby wouldn't be ideal either. It could get smelly, and if I let her once, she'd probably do it again next time. Alright, I'll untie you for now and lead you to the lakeside to pee. Just be good and don't do anything extra. I told little Mute coldly. She nodded obediently. Rustle. I moved behind her, carefully looking for the knots, and after a bit of effort, I finally undid the rope for her. Follow me. I went to the fire, grabbed an unburnt stick, lit it as a torch, and continued forward. Little Mute followed behind me. She kept a grip on my robe, following closely to stay on track. She kept stumbling onto my back, using it to stay steady. We walked over dry branches and fallen leaves, pushed aside the foliage blocking our way, and finally stepped onto soft soil. Well, it is beautiful, isn't it? We reached the lakeside. Tall reeds bordered the lake. The ground was damp, and it seemed like a good spot to take care of business. Here's a good spot to go, I said to Little Mute, pointing to the nearby reeds. Little Mute nodded and went over. She crouched down, tried to untie her belt, but then stood up again. She looked at me, a bit embarrassed. Well, seemed like she's shy. She preferred some privacy. Fair enough. She seemed smart. I respected her wishes. I turned around to give her some privacy. After a bit, I heard a rustling sound. She was undoing her skirt, doing it slowly, maybe a bit hesitant, perhaps worried I might turn around and catch a glimpse. Thinking a lot for a 9-year-old. When I was 9, did I care if there were people around when I peed? Oh. Yeah, that might be true. Suddenly, a chilly breeze swept over my neck. Tap, tap. Quick, rhythmic footsteps came from behind. Someone was running right behind me. Little Mute. Dun, 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 dun. I spun around. The shining dagger flashed in the moonlight. In her hand, a small dagger glimmered, and she thrust it upward, aiming at my throat. Her hair fluttered in the breeze, and beneath those strands, I saw a pair of eyes filled with deadly intent. Where did she get the dagger? Why did she want me dead? Oh, I wonder why. My mind went blank, beads of sweat forming on my forehead. Her sudden attack caught me off guard. What should I do? Bum 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 bum. Neck tackle! Step back, we're gonna step back. Step back! Gotta dodge the dagger. In a moment of panic, without time to think, I stepped back sharply to avoid the dagger. But then, a problem. In my rush, I slipped on the wet ground by the lake. Unable to stand firm, my body suddenly lost balance, tilting backward. Damn it! It's over! I cursed silently and fell backward. Thump. Oh, that's it? I'm just dead? 2 clear sounds, me hitting the ground, and her dagger through my throat. I stared at her, my killer, Little Mute. She put all her strength into the dagger, splitting my throat completely. Couldn't see her expression under her hair, but those gritted teeth told me she gave it her all. Must have used every ounce of her strength to take me down. Blood gushed from my neck. I tried to break free, but with my throat like this, it was useless. Little Mute, why did she kill me? No answers. Death scripts. Right halfway. There you go. Ending: killed by a cat. Never turn your back on a feline predator. Oh, I conveniently saved at this point. Neck tackle! An ordinary person might have died from her surprise attack, but my years of bloody experience kicked in. I stayed calm. Faced with the dagger, I didn't try to block with my hands or hastily dodge. Why would I ever do that? Fucking idiots would do that, but I'm no idiot. I quickly lowered my body, moved aside from the dagger, and then forcefully slammed into her. thud. My charge threw her off balance, and her arm lifted. She missed the stab. The dagger pierced through the air. Relieved, I pressed on, pouncing like a wolf onto its prey, and shoved her into the reeds by the lake. Thump. I pinned her down. Right leg on her belly, left leg on her arm. Right hand gripped her dagger hand. Left hand squeezed her throat. After her failed stab, the dagger slipped from her hand. The instant she struggled to snatch it back, I promptly pressed down on her hand. Now she was completely under my control, unable to move. What the hell were you playing at? I glared at her, my eyes fierce like a wild wolf, growling at her in a low voice. Meanwhile, I pressed down even harder on her, pulling her arm with increased force, almost crushing her thin forearm. She could hardly bear it when I suddenly pinched her arm and pressed all my weight on her. In particular, her right hand was probably hurt by my knee, and the bone might be broken. Plop. The short dagger slipped from her hand and fell to the ground. Right after that, oh, what? Something I could never expect happened. With slightly red, teary eyes, she begged as she cried. Little mute, she actually spoke. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Swine demon. How come you're talking? You're not mute? I stared blankly at little mute pinned beneath me. She actually talked. Tears in her eyes, face red, struggling for breath under my weight. Even so, a moment ago, she begged for mercy, each word crystal clear. Did being frightened by me make her suddenly able to speak? No way. Never heard of a mute being cured. This girl must have had some sinister plan from the start, faking being mute to catch others off guard. Spill it! Why the mute act? And where'd you get that dagger? I snapped at her, eyeing the dagger that had slipped from her hand. She kept begging for mercy. I glanced at her and sighed. Grabbed the dagger she dropped. My left hand held her arm, the dagger against her neck in my right. I rose, eyes fixed on her, pulling her up from the ground. Yeah, considering we did something called, what was that, fucking neck slam? Yeah, for a little frail girl like this, a little frail 9-year-old, I'm not surprised that a grown man doing a move called a neck slam would maybe break a few bones. Jesus. She got up, wobbling a bit before finding her footing, like a newborn deer learning to walk. Spill it, brat. Why the mute act? Why the hell did you play mute? I kept my gaze fixed on her, each word sharp and deliberate. At the same time, I pressed the dagger closer to her neck. I was still steaming from her failed sneak attack. This brat was definitely aiming to finish me off just now. If she didn't explain, I might actually cut her throat.
别杀我！我什么都说。我之前装成哑巴，是怕被尹三认出来。尹三他是人牙子，我怕他问的多了会起疑心，便干脆装成哑巴。
What are you scared he'd figure out?
我想杀豚妖，不能被他怀疑。
Swine demon. She looked down, and the mention of that term just made me more puzzled. What's this swine demon? Why is she bringing it up all of a sudden?
梁爷，其实尹三骗了你和星爷，你们不是把我们送去富贵人家，而是要送我们去豚妖那里做菜人。
Lamb dishes.
你一把我们卖去洛阳，我们就要被豚妖给吃了。
So they're gonna be eaten. Okay. Well, in that case, maybe it would have been better to bring the little plump, slow kid. Right? We're gonna put that in quotation. He's slow. We all know what he is, but, you know, he's slow. Maybe he would have enjoyed that a little bit more. Little slow Buddha boy. Plump little Buddha boy. She urgently spoke with a teary tone, and I was caught off guard. Tongue and I were taking these lambs to become lamb dishes. I knew the meaning of lamb dishes. It meant people who would be eaten. I remember hearing that term for the first time when I was young, back in the peaceful era, and it gave me chills. But in recent years, there was a famine in Shan. Heard in some hard-hit areas, folks were selling kids for food. Some even sold concubines for cash, dissecting them to hawk their organs. Sounds brutal, but it doesn't seem made up. The lambs I'm sending are actually going to end up as some swine demon's lamb dishes?
洛阳城里有一头豚妖，它重1000斤，生性好食
He
人。
weighs 1,000 pounds and has a taste for human flesh.
它有1000年修为，能化身人形，在旁人看起来，他是洛阳最富贵的人，但他其实就是个无恶不作的大妖怪。我们全家住在洛阳附近，爹是个囤药种田的佃农。他有一次来我家看地时，看上了我姐姐，便和我爹说想纳姐姐为妾。爹爹怕他，便同意了。没多久后，姐姐便失踪了。这之后，爹爹去问姐姐的情况，他们说姐姐偷东西跑了，找不到人了。我不信姐姐会偷东西，整天哭闹，说是要见姐姐。直到有一天，我梦到了姐姐。姐姐说她被豚妖吃了，希望我给她报仇。她还说，豚妖的口味越来越刁，以后不只要吃女人，还要吃小娃子。
I saw it in a dream that he was eating people, so now I'm going to kill him. A little bit redonkulous. I mean, the guy probably deserves to die either way, but, you know. Damn, I gotta say, I would hate to be born a girl in Ming Dynasty China. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, right? Like, oh, you know, you have Hunger and Sweeter, right? They were both sold off. Not only were they sold off for the parents to have money and food, but they were sold off to get money and food for the son. So it's like, oh yeah, you know, we'll sell off our daughters if it means feeding our son. I get that's how it was back then. Jeez, man. Ugh. That's how it was until even just recently, dude. Because I'm pretty sure just recently, like some years ago or something like that, they made it legal to have like more than a certain amount of daughters, because you could only have like 2 daughters or something like that.
姐姐还跟我说，
Or like there's like a one daughter
你要让
policy,
华州的
something
尹
like
三
that.
做人牙子的活，给他送孩子吃，让我找机会给他报仇。
I listened silently to her tale, pondering for a moment. Not convincing. What she said about the lamb dishes was morally despicable, even for a bandit like me. And all of this planned by a swine demon with 1,000 years of cultivation, her knowledge coming from dreams her sister sent her. Certainly hard to buy into. You acted mute. Let Yin-san take you just to get close to this swine demon. I asked, ice in my voice. Little Mute nodded. You think I believe your nonsense? Swine demon eating people? Sister sending dreams? Don't bullshit me. Don't get how a kid like you comes up with so many lies. If you really want to off this swine demon, why lay hands on me just now? If I die, who's going to take you to meet the swine demon? How are you going to avenge your sister? Ignoring the mystical talk about the swine demon eating people and her sister sending dreams, as I spoke, I quickly spotted the holes in her story. While her tale could explain her choice to act mute and carry a dagger, it couldn't justify why she attacked me earlier. Her reasoning just didn't add up. If I died, who's going to escort her to the swine demon? Sure enough, the little mute went silent, unable to answer my question. She lowered her head and stopped talking. Seeing her go silent, my suspicion deepened, and I began questioning the truth behind her words. What now? Should I end her? End this lying brat? Or wake up tongue and figure out how to handle her? I pondered, biting my lip, when suddenly I caught sight of a bean-sized tear rolling down her face, resembling a snapped string of pearls.
因为我很怕，太怕了。夕夜白天的时候不是说了吗？说如果我们不听话，会把我们活活生吃。我以为你们也是豚妖，越想越怕，刚刚都做噩梦了。方才我把刀藏在巨骨里，梁爷看着我解手，脱下巨骨肯定能看到刀。梁爷这次背过身去没看，但若是下次看了，你肯定会变成豚妖，把我给吃了。我怕了，不知道怎么做，心狠就想着要刺梁爷。梁爷，对不起，对不起，我再也不敢了。
Little Mute wiped her tears, crying on and off. While crying, she kept saying sorry to me. She cried, gasping for air, body shaking. She looked really scared, asking me to forgive her. But I still wanted to see. You got it right. Since you've got a dagger, no matter what you say, I'll be suspicious. On top of that, you tried to stab me with that dagger, so I should kill you no matter what you say. I snarled quietly, seizing her dagger, lifting my hand and mimicking a move like I was about to stab her.
梁爷不要杀我，梁爷不能杀，我再也不敢了，不敢了。
I'm gonna kill you! I'm gonna fucking kill you!
饶我一命，梁爷！我以后长大了给你赚钱，让你白吃白喝，给你收生死，早精神。我吧。
Come on, you can't. Come on, man. She shook in fear, legs giving way, crying with watery eyes and a snotty face, talking nonsense. Terrified, she tried to flee, falling like a scared piglet, kicking her legs while letting out a chilling, non-stop wail. If I hadn't held her, she'd have hit the ground. The night was too dark to see clearly, but her terrified state suggested she might wet herself if pushed any further. It made sense. Seeing her like this, I felt a bit at ease. She had been too mature before, and with her smooth talk earlier, it had me on edge. Now she genuinely seemed scared, showing the age-appropriate tears. Considering her clumsy dagger move, she didn't seem skilled. Unless I tripped just now, she could have killed me. Yeah, who would trip at that attack? Only an amateur, not me. After some thought, I eased up on my guard. At the same time, any thoughts of killing her vanished. Get up. I sheathed the dagger and pulled her to her feet. She glanced at me, her fear lingering, surprised I spared her suddenly, still sobbing softly. I'll let you live this time, not killing you for now.
谢谢梁爷，我就知道梁爷不是妖怪，是好人。
I'm no good guy. Tonight I can't just pretend nothing happened. I went cold-faced. After my words, Little Mute, who had relaxed a bit after narrowly escaping, immediately stiffened, her expression freezing. Face away from me. I coldly commanded the Little Mute. She obeyed, stiffly turning her body around.
梁爷，你要做什么？
I'm punishing you.
怎么罚我？
Take off your skirt and you'll see. Let's think about this for a moment now. Take it off! Did you hear me? I barked at her, the sudden loudness causing her body to jolt.
我不想脱。
You don't. I'll kill you.
梁爷到底要做什么？
Her voice quivered, filled with reluctance. I was puzzled, a sudden wave of irritation hitting me. Why was this brat being so difficult? I said I wouldn't kill her, and she won't even take a simple punishment. Is she trying to challenge me? With that in mind, I decided to go ahead and forcibly remove her suit. Brother, You have to be a certain kind of fucking stupid to not see how bad this looks. You are out there in the middle of the night after having performed a neck slam on a 9-year-old girl, and you are now forcibly removing her skirt. Let's take a millisecond to think about this and realize what this looks like. And then she said something that left me stunned.
良爷，你不能犯法。弟弟跟我说过，法有规，监幼女12岁以下者斩决。
I wonder what happens if they do that to girls over 12. Is that do they just get a little jail time? They have to do some community service? Is that how this works?
我不满12，刘爷要34。
I froze, and the attempt to remove her skirt came to a sudden halt. Ugh. I didn't anticipate this brat having such ideas. I told her to turn around to remove her skirt, intending to give her corporal punishment. I wanted to cut a piece of the nearby reed and spank her bottom a few times, leaving 3 red marks. But I really didn't expect that this little troublemaker thought I was after something intimate. In that moment, my thoughts felt childlike, while she appeared mature. It gave me a strange sense of reversal, making my already irritated mood turn awkward, chaotic, and even more displeased. How should I handle this to teach her a lesson? Cut the chatter, just hit her. Go along with the conversation. I don't know. Yeah, so it's like, just fucking give her some spankings or continue entertaining her mistaken notion that we're gonna rape her. Okay, oh, it's autosaved. Awesome. I love autosaves. This is so fucked. Let's go along with the conversation. Why not go along with her story and give her a little fright? Gotta spin a tale to avoid the awkwardness and maintain a bit of elderly authority. Heh, quite a laugh, you, a little girl, talking about rules with a bandit like me. I've been robbing and killing for years, avoiding official routes to transport you. Do you really think I'm a law-abiding person? Take it off! I haven't done such wicked deeds before. Today I'll give it a try! Hearing my words, even with her back turned, she was startled. My act must have hit the mark. She bought into the idea that I was really going to do it and started crying. So fucked up.
饶了我吧，不行的，
Jesus
真
Christ.
的不行的。
She begged me, trying to dissuade me from the evil deed she anticipated. Even though I couldn't see her face, I could sense her fearful tears. I'm not one like Tongue to relish in the cries of lambs or find joy in teasing them. However, seeing this overly mature lamb, now exposed in her age-appropriate vulnerability, gave me a strange sense of satisfaction. Alright, enough of that. No more scaring you. It's pointless. Can't figure out how a little girl's mind goes there. I could never do what you imagined. I told you to take off your skirt to spank you.
真的？
Little Mute stopped crying, her voice shaky, cautiously asking me. Yes.
那你打吧。
Sure will. I confirmed with action. Swish! I took her dagger, sliced a switch from the lakeside reeds. As I made the cut, she flinched, eyes shut. Afterward, I measured the reed's length with my hands, assessing its thickness. Perfect.
梁爷，你这就要打了，能不能先牵着？
No waiting.
那现在就打。
Don't rush, it's coming soon.
穿着去裤打行不行？
No! Hurry, take it off! I snapped coldly. She shakily reached for her skirt, fingers fumbling with the knots, hesitantly untying them. The dim light, coupled with tall reeds, obscured the details from my view. Then I heard the soft rustle of clothes hitting the ground and vaguely saw her exposed skin in the shadows. Well, it seemed she did take off her skirt, revealing her bottom.
梁爷，我已经脱了，
Dun-dun, dun-dun.
打轻点行不行？
Nah. I didn't bother talking more with her. Everything's set. It's time to get started. Cracks knuckles. I raised my hand, lifted the reed switch, and gave her bottom a firm smack. Smack!
怎么直接打了？
Smack!
不敢了，梁爷，不敢了，不要再打了。好疼，火辣辣的疼，太疼。
She wiped her tear-stained face, pulled up her skirt, and retied the knots. I gave her 3 strikes. The child's skin is delicate, and she appeared frail, offering little resistance. To avoid causing harm to her muscles and affecting her ability to walk in the next few days, I restrained my force. Still, I was certain it would leave 3 red marks. Your life's spared for now. I'll keep tonight's event a secret for you. If Tongue caught wind of it, he might devour you alive. I'll be watching you closely on this journey. If you try anything again, I'll kill you, breaking my rule of sparing children. On the way back, she limped, feeling the sting from the punishment. As she walked ahead, I lectured her from behind. At the same time, I asked her some questions. The more I think about it, the less you seem like a 9-year-old. How old are you exactly?
11岁，天启元年生人，属鸡。
Oh, you seem small like a 9-year-old.
我吃的少，长得矮。
What's your name?
满岁。
Mansui. She paused for a moment, then uttered 2 words. How do you write it?
不会写，只知道岁是吃的那个岁。
Your parents truly work as tenant farmers?
真的，到洛阳城后，你可以去查。
What if those words are
说有
false?
假，我全家不得好死。
I'll check your story as we travel. No need for oaths. I hate being lied to. If you lie to me, I'll kill you and your whole family. I warned her coldly. After hearing the threat of killing her whole family, she shivered and fell silent. She might have been scared or just worn out from the crying and yelling earlier. In either case, she walked in front of me in silence, not paying me any more heed. Moonlight stretched her shadow as she moved through the mountainous woods. From behind, she appeared slender and solitary, akin to a lone young animal. Mansui. Sui as in the wheat ear. I silently repeated her name. This name echoed with the hope of a farming family, like the wish for fields to be lush with golden wheat ears. Suddenly, a series of scenes surged into my mind. It was as if I could see a vast wheat field. The endless field bathed in sunlight, wheat ears linked together like a golden lake. A strong wind stirred, creating ripples on the lake, forming waves. Her family held her hand, running amidst those waves. She laughed and fell into the golden sea, smiling joyfully. Shadow play. Alright, I think we're gonna wrap her up right there. Make sure, yeah, autosave. God, I love autosave. So good. Alright, so let's go close. Nope, wrong one. Back. Title. Yes. Alright. So, this is pretty much almost to the point that I got to originally in the story. Or like when I was kind of just playing this by myself. So, again, like I said, really not too far into it. Hey man, I'm enjoying it. Obviously, there's gonna be some... Well, I mean, again, it seems like Liang is a little bit more morally conscious than Tongue. You know, like he's not full on just, yeah, you know, I'll just kind of slaughter anything and everything. Right? He's got morals. He's got integrity. So clearly that's going to aid into this one, because I imagine this is probably going to be something where we arrive there, we end up realizing that her whole story of the fancy sheep eating people and eating kids is actually going to be true, and we're going to step in and stop it. We don't let things like that happen. Yuri, yuri. Right? So that's what I'm assuming is going to happen here. But yeah, let me know if you guys enjoyed what you've seen so far. I will more than likely keep posting this whenever I get around to just playing this game. Again, I've got a couple of things that are lined up to take the place of Fata Morgana. And then, of course, we're still trucking our way through, what is it? Shell, Inferno. And also, I think we're getting to a wrap-up point for If My Heart Had Wings. So, that's kind of where we're at right now. But, that's gonna be for me. That's gonna be it for me for this time. Oh, God. Oh, man, that took a lot. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like on the video and tell me in the comment section below what you'd like to see me play next. If you enjoyed this video or any other videos or series on my channel, then I highly recommend that you hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you'll be notified when a new one of those videos comes out. Anyways, so that's it from me, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.